Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Coffee and Sports in the Morning. I'm one of the guys on the show today, William D. Morgan, and I got a cast of thousands with me today. First, let me go ahead and bring in the NFL genius, my man Gene. Gene, what's up? How you doing, man?
What's poppin', Will? How you feeling? Good morning,
Doing
Will.
good, man.
Good morning, Will. Fired up.
Doing good, man. Your brother's on location, but it's all good. We making it work. And next up, let me bring my brother Mo on. Mo Better, what's up? How you doing, man?
Hey, good morning, Will, Gene. Good morning, chat. Happy Monday, everybody.
Ah, man, it's great to be here today.
So, Will, just a question for you, and I always ask this for people that are like fans of teams that just they give up early. Is yesterday a win or a loss for you?
It's kind of both
If you don't know,
because
he's a Saints fan. I'm sure you know by now, but
yeah, you should know me by now, but I am a Saints fan. It was good to see the defense come up big. That was a defensive win. Chuck did have a couple of good plays, but let's not forget he threw like 128 passes that game. So for him to hit 27 of them, okay, there we go. But it was a good defensive game for the Saints. We got a victory. Take what we can get with 2-8. Let's move forward.
I see that's always a question, Mo. Let me ask you though: if you had a team that was like the New Orleans Saints right now, right, and they need a quarterback, they need to tank, they need to get a top pick in the draft, and then they go out and win a game yesterday, and you know another team that needs to get a quarterback, that needs to draft a quarterback, the New York Jets, they go out and win a game yesterday. I don't know how I feel about that. Like you're in that situation where Miami, another team that needs to lose, go won a game yesterday. A lot of these football teams, is it too early to start thinking about like we need the first overall draft pick? Is it too early to think about that?
I don't think it's too early. If you don't believe that you have your franchise guy on your current roster, I don't think it's too early at all. If you don't believe that your team is a contender and you're more of a developmental team, it's not too early. I feel like some of these teams are winning when you need them to lose. Like I know some people are playing for their jobs. I get that, especially some of these head coaches. But if I'm the GM, I'm kind of doing my job for my job, and I need that number one pick. What does it benefit the Jets or the Saints to finish with 4 wins or whatever they're going to finish with? Ultimately, if they're better off with 2 wins.
You're right. I think that yesterday, when you look at teams like I'll say this, and this was a plan I had to talk about, and I wanted to see what you guys think. I'm going to ask you guys a question, and we look at this situation that goes off in the off season when teams draft. I'm going to give you a franchise, and you tell me whether or not they should be looking to tank to draft a quarterback, or whether they should be looking to build from what they have. So let's say tank or build. Can we do
Okay.
that?
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with an easy one. Will's New Orleans Saints.
Tank.
Yeah, Tyler Shuck's not the guy.
No. No.
But they drafted him in the second round. So, Mo, tank or build for New Orleans Saints?
They absolutely need to tank. They don't have the guy in house.
They need to go get Kyler Murray. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, I don't
Kyler
think he's
Murray.
the guy either. I don't think he's the guy
He
either.
he be better than what you got now.
He is better than what you got, but I feel like if you get Kyler Murray to be your quarterback, in a couple of years you're gonna be looking for a quarterback.
Jory with the line in the morning so far.
Yep.
If you want that number one pick, go out there and call the Tennessee Titans, because right now they are sole possession of that number one draft pick. All right, next
Oh
team on
yeah.
the agenda: Geno Smith, Pete Carroll, and the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, absolutely tank.
Yeah. I say tank too.
Okay. How about the Miami Dolphins?
I think they need to tank, but they're in such an odd position because the money that's on Tua's contract, you can tank. He's still going to be on your roster, right? Sitting on the bench like a
Yeah.
big old anchor around your franchise's neck. So I think they need a franchise quarterback. So in a bigger picture, I'm still going to say tank. Tua's not the guy.
So
I say tank as well.
I want to remind you guys, there's only about every year, right? Even in the biggest drafting years ever, there's only about 6 quarterbacks
Right.
in the first round. They're first round grades. This year's, there's a decent amount of quarterbacks with first round grades, but we haven't got to the New York Jets. The New York Jets.
This is true.
Another tank.
Another tank.
I know the point Gene's making. Right. Everybody can't tank because the reality is everybody's not going to get a franchise quarterback. So if you're gonna look at it from that point of view, right, then Miami might be in a better situation because Tua is at least a serviceable quarterback versus what New Orleans has versus what the Jets have.
Now,
See, my thing is this.
Yeah, well.
See, my thing is this. If you're going to replace Justin Fields, and we keep saying tank, the problem is who are you taking for?
Right.
That's my issue because you can look at the draft, but so fruitfully. And a lot of these guys will be developmental, and you're just playing the hope game. So that's the thing with me.
I'll say this. There's a lot of first-round graded quarterbacks. This year, I don't have a first-round grade on all those quarterbacks. So, give you an example. Fernando Mendoza, 6'5", 225, been absolutely lighting up in Indiana. He's projected to be your top quarterback right now. Dante Moore, 100% out of Oregon. I love what I see out of him. He is projected to be a top 5 quarterback. Ty Simpson out of Alabama, 21 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's projected to be a top quarterback in this draft. There are so many quarterbacks that are supposed to go in this next draft. They're the only 3 that I really have a full first-round grade on. I look at situations that happen across college football, and I'll be as transparent as can be. I think that Mateer, I think that the kid from South Carolina, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. I don't think they're first-round grades, at least right now. Lenoris Sellers, by the way. That's Nussmeyer's definitely not a first-round grade. Carson Beck isn't a first-round grade. They have 7 quarterbacks listed on their ESPN could be first-rounders. And I'm telling you, Beck is not a first-round draft pick. Garrett Nussmeier is not a first-round draft pick. John Mateer is not a first-round draft pick. And I'm fringe on Lenoris Sellers. Lenoris Sellers is somebody I need to see more out of.
You kind of shot me with Mateer because I thought Mateer would have been one of your guys.
He looked really good the first 3 weeks of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And the injury happened. And I remember, you didn't see too much of John Mateer leading up to this year.
True.
And then he started really well, and he was skyrocketing up those boards, and then the injury happened. And I'm going to be honest with you, it gave me a lot of Nico. Remember when Nico started off 4-0 for Tennessee, and Nico's going to be this, Nico's going to be that. And he asked for $4 million from Tennessee. Tennessee's like, you're out of your mind. And he went to UCLA, and he's just, Nico's not anymore. Remember Spencer Rattler?
Yep.
100% the number 1 overall pick.
Yep.
Until he played. He's no longer the number 1 overall
number 1 pick. I'm so glad Tennessee stood up for themselves in that situation too.
Yeah.
University of Tennessee, 100%.
Yeah.
I got a very fun question in college football that I wanted to ask you guys before we moved forward. We had a huge slate of NFL action, but I'll give you an example, right? And I know that this isn't familiar to a lot of people because it doesn't happen very often. But Brian Kelly, the ex-head coach of Cincinnati, ex-head coach of Notre Dame, and now the ex-head coach of LSU. Now, if you don't know about Brian Kelly walked away from Cincinnati before a college football playoff game. Left them stranded. Walked away from them and let them play a college football playoff game with a basically, interim head coach.
Yeah.
Because you need to start recruiting in Notre Dame. Then he walked away from Notre Dame while they were in the midst of a playoff run because he needed to start at LSU. So he is a selfish scumbag. He's always been that person. Went to LSU, immediately grew a Southern accent in one press conference. It was insane. He went from Cincinnati, Notre Dame, down to LSU, and all of a sudden he had a draw. I don't know where the draw came from, but he's fraud. He was fired by LSU, thankfully. LSU doesn't take that losing shit. He was fired by LSU after underperforming, after all the money that they gave him. Now, I'll give you an example. James Franklin was fired from Penn State. He's owed a ton of money. He just got an extension. Penn State was like, listen, we're going to give you $30 million out of your remaining contract. And then if you get hired from another organization, whatever they're paying you will cut off what we owe you. So we'll give you a buyout. And, when you get hired somewhere else, whatever, say they pay $8 million and we were supposed to pay you 10, we'll pay the $2 million difference. Brian Kelly is now successfully rejected 2 settlement offers from LSU. He's owed $54 million under the remaining years of his contract. 10 years, $95 million was the original contract. Kelly basically denied a lump sum payment of $25 million and to remove the mitigation language in the contract that would reduce the buyout if he coached again. So what that means is LSU's like, we'll pay you $25 million. And if you go get a job at, Florida and get $10 million a year for 5 years, you can keep all that money. We'll still pay you the $25 million buyout. It's controversial in the college football world, but what else do you expect from Brian Kelly? I like your thoughts, gentlemen, on Brian Kelly's exact words. Well, his lawyer's exact words is, you have until Monday, figure it out. I'm not taking a buyout. I'm not going to take less than $54 million. And the payments would go to 2031. So he would not be able to coach until 2031.
To me, he just wants to sit back and chill. That's what it seems to me. He doesn't want to coach. He just wants to sit back and chill. But I agree with you. He's still a scumbag for this. Take the buyout, get your money, go back in there and coach again. You showed some success at LSU before they fired you. So take the buyout so you can coach again. Don't just sit on your laurels, man. Particularly the way you went out fired. I couldn't go out that way. I couldn't.
Mo?
I think Brian Kelly just wants his money. We always talk about
Scumbag.
How players or executives want their money. He wants his money. And by the way, he didn't force LSU to give him that contract.
Yes.
They willingly made that contract and gave him that money, and then they fired him. Look, you can say he didn't do it. He started off well, didn't finish well. I get that. They fired him. But once you fire him and he's owed the money with the contract that you signed, I'm with Brian Kelly. You figure out how you're going to pay me the $54 million, but you're going to pay me the $54 million. I don't need to coach again. I'm going to rest on the money that you owe me. I'm good.
Him and Jimbo Fisher are scumbags. Scumbags of the college football universe. Scumbags.
See, I don't view Jimbo in the same light as Brian Kelly. Jimbo never left an organization mid-playoff run.
No. Not mid-playoff run.
Brian Kelly that bothers me the most, Will, it's not, look, you want your money. I agree with Mo, right? If I'm going to retire, I'd say this is my last job, LSU. I'm going to go on ESPN and make some money doing that. I would have not accepted a buyout either because I'm not going to coach again. I plan on not coaching again. I have no issue with that. The issue I have with Brian Kelly has always been him leaving his teams in the dust. And I can't take that. That bothers me. Jimbo is, listen, he very good coaching career at Florida State. Went to A&M and fell on his face. He had top recruiting classes and just couldn't recreate that magic that he had at Florida State. So I don't know. I don't hate Jimbo. I hate Brian Kelly.
I feel you.
Listen, I love these. Keep them coming. Brian Kelly. Kelly Price. Lakers in 5. I love it. All right, so let's move on to the NFL action. Guys, is Jonathan Taylor making that conversation for MVP in a year? And I say this because Last year, Saquon Barkley couldn't win MVP because the years that were put up by Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen were just so absurd, and they play at the quarterback position. So the MVP has basically been a quarterback award.
Yes.
However, no quarterback is putting up like ridiculous numbers this year.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes was the favorite to win the MVP. They're 5-4, and he's been okay. He's not having the best season of Patrick Mahomes' career.
No,
is it time to start having that full conversation of a running back winning MVP? Jonathan Taylor yesterday single-handedly took the Colts, threw the backpack Mac on, and said, we're winning this football game. I'm going to read you his stat line yesterday. 32 carries, 244 yards, and 3 touchdowns, including an 83-yard touchdown to tie the game. I would love to hear your thoughts on the MVP currently now. Is it Mahomes? Is it I don't see, it's crazy. Is it Drake May? Drake May has been my choice.
I think Drake May. Go ahead. I think Drake May is the front runner, but I would put Jonathan Taylor right there with him. Like Drake May is having a really good season, but he's not having some kind of season where he's threatening to break the touchdown pass record or yardage record. You're right. In this particular year, there's a few quarterbacks who've played really, really well, but I don't think any quarterback has played better than Jonathan Taylor has. I think Jonathan Taylor has the best shot to win an MVP that's not been a quarterback in a long time. And I don't know if he's going to crack 2,000 yards, but if he puts up a 2,000-yard season the way that this season is playing out, and the Colts win their division outright, it'd be tough not to name him MVP.
Yeah,
MVP
I got him in the
running back position. Will the MVPs at the running back position? Just the ones that we can talk about in the recent. Marcus Allen won in '85, and then you have Walter Payton and Earl Campbell and OJ and all those guys. But when it became a quarterback award, I look at that in the 2000s. Marshall Faulk won in 2000. Sean Alexander in his ridiculous season, I think he had 28 touchdowns. Won it in 2005. LaDainian Tomlinson won it in 2006. That's the year he broke the touchdown record. And then Adrian Peterson, the 2012 season, where he had 2,000 yards, was the last one to win MVP at the running back position. That's 13 years ago.
Yep. Taylor can do it. My only concern with Jonathan Taylor, and I've been saying this, his usage is just sick. His usage rate is sick. I get it. He churns the butter, so to speak. But right now he's in the lead. And if he can stay healthy and the Colts have that great team success Mo was talking about earlier, he can definitely be your MVP. Definitely.
I mean, we got to start having that conversation.
Yep.
What he did yesterday in in Germany was incredible. So
I just need him to stay healthy. Just need him to stay healthy. That's it.
The Giants blew another fourth quarter lead yesterday. Another big fourth quarter lead. Up 10 with the ball, 8 minutes left in the game. And I'll say Jackson Dart and Cam Skattebo are a New York nightmare. And what I mean by that is they're so good that you want to see them play football. But they're so reckless that they're constantly going to end up on injury reports. Cam Skattebo, freak injury. I get it. His ankle was bad. Jackson Dart, who keeps diving headfirst into defenders, got knocked out. It looked like I seen this meme online yesterday, and I thought it was hilarious. C.J. Gardner-Johnson looked like he knocked the coins out of Sonic. Like, you ever seen Sonic running and he hits like a spike and then the coins pop out of him? Like, Jackson Dart looked like he had the coins knocked out of him by C.J. Gardner-Johnson and the Bears when he fumbled the football, when he's trying to run the football in, and he was concussed. This is the third time Jackson Dart's been evaluated for a concussion. The first time where they actually said he was concussed. The guy is head first diving into players and situations. And I want to say that if I'm a Giants fan, I'm excited the future of Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo, but also I don't know how this team ever makes a playoff run with those two as their lead players because how reckless they play football. Mo, your thoughts on another Giant collapse? They've lost games in which they were beating the Cowboys with 13 seconds left. They lost games where they were up 19-0 in the fourth quarter versus the Denver Broncos. They keep losing these games where they're up tons of points. Like, is Brian Daboll going to get fired this morning?
It's a tough call. And look, Brian Daboll can't predict from game to game whether or not his quarterback's going to get knocked out. But he's seen enough film to know that his quarterback does not protect himself. He does not try to protect himself. And I saw this in preseason, and I said, if Jackson Dart ever becomes a starter, if he does not learn how to protect himself, he's not going to have a long career. He's not. In this NFL, if you're going to take off and run and you don't know how to protect yourself, you will have a short career. He might become a New York Giant legend, but he won't have a long career. I think Brian Daboll, this team has been very competitive. They've lost some close games, some tough games. I know I've made the statement that going off of what Mara said, it's playoffs or fired. I'm just saying that's what he said. Yeah. That was the mandate. If he's a man of his word, then Daboll's fired. But if he actually looks at the team, the improvement and how competitive they've been, not to mention your number one wide receiver gone for the year, your number one running back gone for the year, and the way things are looking, at some point your quarterback might be gone for a year if you don't protect him from himself. So if I had the chance, I would highly consider bringing Daboll back because they've blown leads, but I think their defense, which we thought would be a dominant defense, the defense has been really bad late in games. Now, maybe it's on Daboll to fire the DC, but I think I would consider what Jackson Dart could be. I think Daboll's the right coach for Jackson
Dart. So, Will, I do want to ask you this question when it comes to the Giants and this situation that basically breaks down where the Giants fall short. Do you guys remember they had a really good defensive coordinator, a heralded defensive coordinator by the name of Wink Martindale? He was their DC. Jalen Hurts called Wink Martindale the moment he got fired from the New York Giants and asked, hey, what did you see? Like, I have so much respect for you, like, in the way you defended me. How can I get better at attacking the defense? If you don't remember, the reason Wink Martindale isn't the Giants defensive coordinator is because Brian Daboll's a hothead. And Brian Daboll screamed at him and got disrespectful with him. Wink's like, I don't need this shit. They got in a huge argument, and Daboll tried to reach out to him and try to get him to come back into the fold. And in the offseason, they parted ways. Wink Martindale is a very good defensive coordinator. Matter of fact, he's the defensive coordinator for Michigan. And he was defensive coordinator for Jim Harbaugh for a season. And then he went on to Michigan to be their defensive coordinator. I think that Brian Daboll needs to be fired. Wink was great. Not bad. Wasn't bad. Wink Martindale is a very good defensive coordinator. And if you gave him the tools that this Giants defense has now, there's no reason this Giants defense should be blowing leads in the fourth quarter. Brian Burns, Sexy Dexy, Abdul Carter, Kevin Thibodeau, their defense is loaded up front. Oh, your thoughts on Daboll? I think Daboll needs to be fired. I think they need to go in a different direction. And when you lose that many games in the fourth quarter, you have to make that decision. Will?
See, my thing is this with Daboll. Daboll's proved that he can. He did something with Daniel Jones to a certain extent. He's doing this thing with Jackson Dart. I sort of kind of agree with Mo in the sense you have to bring him back. But I do think that defensive coordinator needs to be fired because if you look at the way a bad secondary play, not holding up on the back end late in games, your front four not being able to get to the QB in pivotal times, I think I will put more on the DC than I would on Daboll just because of the fact the offense has been competitive enough to win games. Scatterboo is gone for the year, but you saw in college he was reckless in college. Jackson Dart just needs to learn to protect himself. So
Not the same men, Will. Not the same men. NFL and
No,
college, the violence.
I get that.
Not the same.
I get that. But it's the habits that you learn.
Correct.
You can't run through everybody in the NFL. I don't care how big and strong you are. You can't. But yeah, I would put more emphasis on the DC and less on Dayball because your offense have been competitive with Jackson Dart in there. Now, if you want to get him on not being able to do anything with Russell Wilson, I got you on that part. But with Dart, he's been able to do something. So yeah, I would look at the DC more than I would at Dayball.
And look, with Scatterboo, don't forget, man. I know he's a running back, but if you want to be a high contact, high collision running back, even if he didn't tear up his ankle, he's having a short career.
Yep.
You're not going to have a long career as a running back if you're a high contact running back. That doesn't stand up.
I agree. Nature Boy said losing to Denver with a 19-point lead in the fourth should have sent him packing. I don't disagree. Kyle, Dart's recklessness, you hope he learns and he becomes more experienced. Yeah, I don't know if that'll happen, though. I feel like that he has this moxie about him, this arrogance, this cockiness that is just, I don't think he's going to learn from it. That's my personal opinion. Is there a more confusing team in the NFL than the Miami Dolphins?
No.
Oh.
No.
So they lose 31-6 to the Cleveland Browns. I didn't even know the Cleveland Browns could score 31 points. So they lose 31-6 to one of the league's worst offenses. They beat the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta 34-10. We're like, what the hell happened there? How did that happen? Then they come back down to earth and get the shit kicked out of them by Baltimore on Thursday Night Football. And you're like, all right, Baltimore, Buffalo, it's 2 straight losses. That'll send Mike McDaniel in a frizzy. They go home and beat the crap out of the Buffalo Bills. It looked like Buffalo didn't want to show up for the football game. It was the most letdown game of all time. I understand beating the Chiefs and being like, we're like exhaling, but my God, beating the Chiefs and then going to Miami and getting the shit kicked out of you kind of reverses everything you did. The New England Patriots already beat you 1 game, so you cannot get the tiebreaker over them now that you lost the division game. So there's substantially 2 games, full games behind the Patriots. And by the way, if I read you the Patriots schedule going forward, the Patriots could be the 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. Let me read you this schedule. It is insane that right now the Patriots are in a situation where they're just winning a lot of football games. Right now, they're 8-2. Stop me when you hear something where the Patriots are going to lose. They play the Jets at home. It's a win. Am I wrong?
Yep. No.
They play at the Bengals. It's a win. They play the Giants at home. It's a win. They're 11-2 before they play Buffalo after a bye. And the game is in New England. That game is basically going to be for the division. Buffalo cannot. Talk about Miami being the most confusing team in football. Will, what are your thoughts on the Dolphins-Bills game yesterday?
Buffalo playing down to their competition, or for they think they're playing down to their competition, I think. When you have Devin Achane just run all over you like he did yesterday, man, it's going to be a hard team to stop with him leading the way. Waller's doing this thing. Tua was able to hold his head up and able to throw a couple of touchdowns. So when they get it, when they have that confidence, they're going to look good. But they are confusing. But I think this is more of a letdown on Buffalo's end than it is a Miami win.
It's 100% more of a letdown on Buffalo. And don't get it twisted. Tua did not play well in that football game. Tua was not good. He threw 2 arm punt interceptions that were awful. Devon Achane he threw 1 good pass to Jalen Waddle, and Waddle made a great play. Mo, what are your thoughts on Buffalo, Miami yesterday?
Buffalo just laid an egg. That's a bad loss for them. A bad loss. And the Miami, like you said, the best thing Tua did yesterday was hand the ball to Achane. That's the best thing he did all day, was hand the ball off and get out the way. That Buffalo, I think that loss is going to cost Buffalo the division. I think New England's going to win the division outright.
Very well good.
It's a really bad loss, and it's one of those losses where they lose the division. But we're not talking about Josh Allen like for the MVP this year. He's not winning back to back.
No.
Nope,
So
not at all.
it is a
Not at all.
he's had a pedestrian season. They've been kind of a mediocre team, and I'm looking at Miami is so confusion. One minute we're thinking they're done. He's lost the locker room, and then they turn around and they're like a cat. They've got 9 lives. They pull off a win that you don't see coming, and it blows my mind. And in a really weird way, if this is going to be the pattern, is Mike McDaniels going to survive this year? Is he going to survive? Because if this is going to be the pattern, this guy might actually be back.
I'm lost as to what to happen with Miami. I'm even more lost in how bad Buffalo played. James Cook fumbled. That's a rare occurrence. Josh Allen had a big fumble after breaking through the line of scrimmage and trying to fight for extra yards after he had the first down. Josh Allen threw a terrible pick. And when the defense needed stops in that fourth quarter, they were gassed because the offense kept turning the football over.
Right, facts.
It was 16-0 going into the fourth. Who would have thought that the only team that didn't have a point going into fourth quarter was the was the Buffalo Bills versus the Miami Dolphins.
That's crazy.
Just thought it was a bad loss for Buffalo. But if they played again 9 times out of 10, I'll still take Buffalo, but it just is a bad loss. Just a bad loss.
I want to talk about a game that not a lot of people probably watched, but I watched it. It was the Houston Texans versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Actually,
the Jaguars were up 29-10 going into the fourth quarter.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Lost the game 36-29. I don't look. I'll be very clear. The Texans have a great defense. They do. But they allowed 29 points through 3 quarters. So it wasn't as if, and a lot of those were all, fumbles, turnovers, different situations. For them to turn the ball over twice in the fourth quarter, once was a really bad fumble at the end of the game, which, by the way, is I don't want to get into that. The Houston Texans with Davis Mills won a game that basically took their season off of oxygen, puts them at 5. The Jaguars at 5-4. If you watch this game, what's your takeaway, Mo?
I just feel like I watched some of that game, turned away because they were destroying them. Like you said, it's 29-10. The game's over, right? And next thing you know, I'm looking at the final score like, what happened? And remember, like you said, Davis Mills did this. This isn't even right. That's crazy. There's something not right in Jacksonville, and maybe you can start with the general manager. Maybe you can just say, for whatever reason, I don't know that Trevor Lawrence is a guy that people want to follow in the war. I don't know. But and the weird thing about that is I've seen Jacksonville lose games like this more than once, where they're up by a lot and they don't finish games out. Yeah. And when you don't finish games out, I'm looking at your head coach and I'm looking at your quarterback. Something's wrong in Jacksonville.
I don't credit their offense for them being up 29-10. I just want to be very clear when I say that. I don't credit their offense for that. I don't. If you look at the play chart, the way it's broken down, they threw a pick on the first drive. The Jaguars got a field goal. Took 26 yards to get a field goal. They fumbled the ball. The Jaguars scored a touchdown. That was 5 plays, 19 yards. And then their field goal was 7 plays, 40 yards. Their next score was a touchdown. It was 58 yards. It was the first drive that they had that was a good drive.
Right.
But in reality, they had 2 drives over 55 yards in the entire game. But what I will say is this. The end of that game was atrocious. Atrocious. I was watching it with a friend of mine, Jacob, and I tend to root for certain teams. Jacksonville is one of them. I wanted to ask this person who had zero, to do with Jacksonville, Houston, Jacob McDevitt, if you're out there in the chat, just comment. But I'm like, man, there was a really, really bad PI called on Jacksonville that set up Houston on the 1 yard line. And it was terrible. it was like, I don't even know how they call that. They even said it on the broadcaster, like, that's hand fighting. They're, if anything, it was OPI. Like, it looked like the receiver kind of pushed off. Jacksonville allows the score. That's still on them. That's still a mistake by them. Then Trevor Lawrence makes a really, really nice throw to Parker Washington on the sideline, put them in Cam Little field goal range. We're talking at the house. We're like, I want to see if this kid can kick it from 70. Like, I just want to throw a complete pass and have him try it from 70 yards again. Like, that's what we were discussing. And he throws a pass, and we kind of all like, God damn, it's only going to be a 55-yarder for the game winner. Let's see how that plays out. And then you see a flag, and they called illegal hands to the face on an offensive lineman. And it wasn't egregious. Like, it was, his hand was here, like right under the neck. And it wasn't long. And it felt weird. They called it as a 5-yard penalty. They moved them back 10 yards. I don't know how anybody didn't like hear that or decide to change that. And then the next play, Trevor Lawrence tries to force something because Danielle Hunter was beating the Jaguars left tackle like he stole something. He was. And he tried to throw the ball out of falling to the ground, and it gets picked and ran back for a touchdown. By the way, it cost me one of my pick'ems because if they just lose the game 30-29, I had the Jaguars plus 1.5 on wire to wire. That pick six that cost me one of my picks. But if you guys seen the end of that game, did you see it the way I seen it? And if you didn't, it's okay. But like the PI down the sideline was awful, and the hands to the face, it felt like a lot of home cooking down the stretch. Am I tripping?
I didn't see the end of the game.
Okay,
I didn't either.
He did. Liam Cohen threw his play sheet at the end. He acted like a complete imbecile baby, and then like looked at the other guy to pick it up, like one of his assistants. Like, I hate when people do shit like that. It bothers me, right? If you throw your stuff, pick it up. Don't like, you have servants working for you. When you throw your stuff on the ground and you look at the other guy to pick up your shit, like I don't want to get into that, but that was awful. Any other comments on Jaguars, Texans? I know the chat wants to call for Trevor Lawrence as if the defense didn't give up 36 points to Davis Mills.
Facts. Facts. We ain't talking about. We're not talking about Stroud. We're talking about Davis Mills.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I call it necking it.
The defense was terrible. The PI was terrible. The hands to the face was terrible. Shaky, but the defense was awful.
Right.
And listen, Trevor Lawrence didn't play great, but he's playing against the league's number one defense in the Texans. Yeah. I don't think he played great. I don't think he played awful either. When I look at that game, I don't walk away going, Trevor Lawrence was terrible. They only scored 29 points. I look at it like the defense allowed 30 points, not 36, because the fumble 6, whatever. 30 points to Davis Mills. That's how I see that game.
That's 100% how I see it. When you play the Texans, and your offense is not going to put up big numbers, but you got one job. Don't turn the football over. I'm never worried about the Texans' defense, but the fact that the Texans' offense put up 20-plus points, that's not a good offense. And if they put up there's a problem if you give up that kind of points to that offense. That's not a good offense.
I kind of feel for Trevor Lawrence, though, because you're in a situation where you can't win. If you really can't win in his situation. If you win that game, you're supposed to. If you lose that game, then you're a bum. So either way, Trevor Lawrence can't win regardless. Gene, I know you've been advocating for Trevor for a little bit. Do you think a change in situation might help him?
I mean, yeah, I told you before, I think that situations destroy quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I point at Baker Mayfield. I point at Sam Darnold. Even Geno Smith. Geno Smith's been bad in Las Vegas, but he was good for a few years in Seattle.
Yes.
Situations change quarterbacks. I don't always think it's the place like Jacksonville, but sometimes it is. You look at Chicago. You're drafted to Chicago. I mean, people are talking Caleb Williams is a bust. Everybody's a bust that goes to Chicago. It's hilarious. They just miss on everybody. Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, they're all busts. Maybe it's the organization, man. Maybe it's the way it's ran. Everyone's a bust at the same. Like, they're just that bad at picking quarterbacks. Like, Trevor Lawrence was the consensus, there was no thought process. Consensus number 1 overall pick coming out of Clemson. As a redshirt freshman, he went and beat, and by the way, I just realized why Jordy hates him so much. As a redshirt freshman, he went and beat Alabama in the national championship. Like, I don't know. Maybe its situation changes. I don't know. But what I do know is he doesn't look great. And I've seen a lot more out of him under Dabo Swinney than I did under the Urban Meyer, Doug Peterson, Liam Cohen.
Right. I agree.
We'll get into the Falcons in a minute. We can only get into so many games today, but the one game I've been waiting to get into is, listen, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I love getting into games in which I'm wrong. Here's a game I was wrong. On Sideline to Sideline, we give our best bet of the week. I'm undefeated for the year. I've given you guys a pick that's won every single week for 9 weeks of the season. I haven't been on every week, but the point is, if you look at my record on Wire to Wire, I think it's 23-6 for the year. It might be 23-7. 10 weeks, 23-7. So I'm really good at picking football games. If you couldn't tell, I was wrong about Patriots Buccaneers. I thought this Bucs coming off a bye, Baker Mayfield. Got to give credit where credit's due. Drake May was good. I'll give Mike Vrabel credit. He finally started to let the rookie run the football. We've seen this in the preseason in Trevion Henderson before the season started. We've seen him in preseason. We've seen him at Ohio State. We've seen flashes of how good this kid could be. 14 carries, 147 yards against a defense that didn't allow a rusher over 50 yards all year. Patriots defense looked great. Mike Vrabel's got these boys playing.
Yeah.
How serious of a Super Bowl contender are the New England Patriots, Mo?
I think they're serious contenders. I really do. They have a running game to complement what Drake May in the passing game do. They have a defense that finds a way to get big stops when needed.
Yep.
And now that they're letting that young man from Ohio State run the football, he gives them a home run ability that they didn't have from any other running backs. Like, this guy can go stop 60 yards. He's got that kind of ability. So that's another dimension that they've added to that offense. And like we said, they're in a position to out and out win their division. You said it. It's not a stretch to say the New England Patriots could be the number 1 seed in the AFC. That's crazy to me because I will not lie, I did not have them being that good this year.
And this goes to show you, too, that when you're headed in the wrong direction, you can always have a course correction. And the first thing they did, once you have Vrabel, you started getting some better talent up in there and turning things around. So this shows you that a bad team, a couple of seasons, you can't turn things around.
By the way, Drake May, MVP candidate, Mike Vrabel, Coach of the Year?
Why not?
So that's a fun question. Mike Vrabel or Shane Steichen? Indianapolis or
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Well, we'll get into that on a different show. I want to try to get to as many games as possible. The one play out of Drake May that made me go, wow. And if you watch the Patriots Bucs game, he threw probably a ball that was 50 yards in the air. Back.
Bless you, bro.
To backpack Mac. And I don't think he could have walked it out there and served it to him better on a silver platter. That pass from Drake May to Mac Hollins was a thing of beauty. I mean, that was 50 yards in the air, and you couldn't have dropped it in a bucket any better.
Right.
So I wanted to give Drake May his flowers. He deserves them. He's my MVP pick right now. So
I got a question.
Yes.
You were talking about Drake May for MVP. And this brings up another game. I don't know if we're gonna get to it or not. But what do you think about Matt Stafford?
Matt Stafford's up there. Matt Stafford, Drake May, Patrick Mahomes, Jonathan Taylor. Just I think what people failed, I don't know why Matthew Stafford has gotten this reputation, but Matthew Stafford has a lot of Justin Herbert, where people always forget when he's bad. Like, they just don't talk about it. It's like it doesn't happen.
Right.
And like when they lose to the 49ers, when the 49ers are playing with the C squad on Thursday Night Football and the game is in LA, we don't talk about that. We're just like, oh, yeah, it's fine. But like, I don't get that. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, we just forget when Matthew Stafford doesn't play great. Like the Ravens game, like they won 17-3. We just forget about it. He threw for 181 yards. He was awful in that game. But MVP threw for 5 touchdowns. Like, I get it. 22-2 is very impressive. So, speaking of Ravens, let's get into that game real quick. The Baltimore Ravens played the Minnesota Vikings, and once again, another one of these games where, guys, I want everyone to pay attention. Just pay attention. That's all I ask you to do. I do take a little bit of, I don't like this. I do pay attention. I think the Colts are turning a little bit into pumpkins, but Jory, I pay attention. You know this. And I know you're not talking specifically to me, but Jonathan Taylor, Shane Steichen, they've done a great job of turning around a quarterback that was terrible.
I don't know. Yep. I don't think they're turning into pumpkins. I just think that they've gotten into the meat of their schedule. They were never. It's not like they were going to go undefeated. Nobody thought that. But at the same time, the record that they have right now, coming into this year, nobody had the Colts being this good. So I'm not going to say they're turning into pumpkins, because they are going to win their division. They're going to win the division, whether people want to realize that or not. They're going to win the division. I don't think they're pumpkins. They're the best team in that division. With the best player in that division, they're going to win the division.
Speaking of teams that are going to win their division, 4 short weeks ago, I told anyone that would listen.
I was on board. I know where you're going.
You have an extra $500. The Ravens are going off at plus 188 to win the division. They're now 4-5, and after the stinker the Steelers played last night, they're 5-4. The Ravens are now 1 game back in the division with 2 games to play against Pittsburgh. However, yesterday wasn't on the Ravens. I agree with Jory here. Yesterday was not on the Ravens. It was on how bad J.J. McCarthy is. J.J. McCarthy left yesterday's game, and the stat line doesn't sound terrible. 20 of 42, 248, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 1 sack. He left the game with an 18.6 QBR. I got to give Brian Flores credit. I think I'm a Brian Flores fan club member. I have the sticker. It's getting sent.
You are.
He did a great job against Baltimore's offense. J.J. McCarthy was terrible. Terrible. And they had 8 false starts. And after the game, Minnesota, instead of talking about how bad their offense was, they're at home. And they had 8 false starts. And they're saying that the Ravens cheated because they mimicked the snap count. You're at home. It's your snap count. Like, what are we doing? The Vikings offense and J.J. McCarthy are lost. I think they made a huge mistake getting rid of Sam Darnold at this point. J.J. McCarthy is a bust. I'm sorry. I've never liked the kid out of Michigan. Maybe I'm a hater. Your thoughts on the Vikings versus Ravens yesterday, Will?
The thing that gets me about this game, and I still think the Ravens got problems, but they are second in the division right now. I still got issues with their secondary, primarily. But they did what they had to do to get the win. But J.J. McCarthy is trash. He's trash. I didn't think you were hating on him that bad, though, Gene. I didn't know you hated him like that. That's news to me. I thought you were at least giving the kid a chance.
You gotta watch Wire to Wire more.
I do.
When Carell did the breakdown of J.J. McCarthy on Real Recognizes Real, we talked about it on the show. And I said, bro, the guy stinks. He doesn't throw more than 20 times in college, and he's being overrated because Michigan won the national championship. And Bill and Cottrell told me how wrong I was, and still yet to be proven right.
I I don't
Go
know
ahead,
what
go.
JJ McCarthy's going to be, but I know what he is right now. He's not a starting NFL quarterback.
No.
And the truth of the matter is, had they started Carson Wentz, they probably would have won that football game. Had they started Carson Wentz, Wentz would have thrown for well over 300 yards against that Ravens secondary. Now he might have still thrown a couple of picks because that's part of
That's
the
what he
Carson
does.
Wentz, that's part of the Carson Wentz experience. But they would have had no problems. They would have had no problems moving the football against that defense. But I picked the Ravens to win primarily because I knew JJ was starting, and I knew JJ wasn't going to be able to A, move the ball, and B, he's going to turn the football over. And as long as he remains their starting quarterback, they're not going to make the playoffs.
Anytime Justin Jefferson, who is one of the best, if not the best wide receiver in football, only gets 4 catches for 37 yards, you got issues. And it all stems from the quarterback spot.
Will,
Spot.
when your best receiver, not just your best receiver, one of the 2 or 3 best receivers in all of football, is catching nothing but medicine balls, not good. Not a good sign.
Not good at all. All quarterback issues. All of it.
23 targets between Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison yesterday. Only 7 were completed.
And Jalen Naylor leaves you a get out of here.
I mean, Jalen Naylor didn't lead him in targets. He just completed more passes than Naylor. He had 23 targets to Addison and Jefferson. Only 7 completions. His bad ball rate is incredibly bad.
Terrible.
It's terrible. It is. Well, maybe I'm being too hard on the kid. It's too early to write somebody off.
It is.
But I've seen this in him from Michigan, from when he threw 3 picks versus like Little Sisters of the Poor on a week that they should beat a team by 100 and they won by 12. But you know, that's just my take on it.
Look,
the Ravens are going to win the division.
No, I still think in the bigger picture, Gene's right. The Ravens are going to still win the division because I think the Steelers are going to continue to come back to the pack. They stunk so bad last night. Like,
oh, God, it was unwatchable.
The game was so bad that normally I will watch the Sunday night football game, but it was so bad that I was switching back and forth between that and NBA, and I was watching more of the NBA.
And
I mean, NBA was way better last night. Sixers ultimately lost a close game, but
and I'll still say DK Metcalf ain't that dude. I still say he ain't that dude.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers was awful last night. He had a QBR of 4.
Yeah,
44. Yep. Aaron Rodgers looked like he didn't take his ayahuasca or his medicine or whatever because he was awful. He was terrible.
Oh man.
Aaron Rodgers. I was watching Sixers Pistons too. I had the dual TV up, and I will say this: Cade Cunningham dunking on Andre Drummond last night was very painful to watch as a Sixers fan. That dunk was insane, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I do have something I want to finish, but we obviously can't get to every game. But the Seattle Seahawks are, I guess, without a doubt, I think they're a Super Bowl contender. We talked about this on Sideline to Sideline, and Seattle is just on another level right now, the way they're playing. But I will ask you this. We'll do a start bench cut to end the show. And the start bench cut is start the team that has the best chance to win the Super Bowl, bench the second best team, and cut the team that you don't think has any chance to win the Super Bowl out of these 3. And there are 3 teams that one of them we talked about, the other 2 we haven't, but they're all surprises. Seattle Seahawks, the Denver Broncos, and the New England Patriots. Start bench cut.
I'm starting Seattle, benching the Patriots, cutting the Broncos. I don't think the Broncos are Super Bowl contenders because they have one of the worst offenses in football. The offense is horrible. As good as that defense is, Bo Nix's offense is just as bad. They're awful. I don't trust their offense. That offense is going to cost that defense a win in the playoffs. They're just not good enough. I don't think Bo Nix is that good. I think he's kind of inconsistent at best. The one thing I'll give him credit for is he's got that same thing that people love about Jackson Dart.
Yep.
He'll use his wheels and make a timely play with his legs, but that offense is just really, really bad. compared to teams like Seahawks who are balanced, not just with the passing game with Darnold, but they've got a really good running game. Playmakers on the outside and a defense that'll come get you. Why I just don't see how you can put the Broncos on the same level as teams that are that balanced.
Would it change if I put the Colts there instead of the Broncos?
No, because this is the mean part, right? The Colts defense is not one of the best defenses in football. At best, I think they're a middle of the road defense. I don't trust the Colts defense. Every game the Colts win or lose, it's a shootout. The other teams, the Colts score, but the other team has no problem scoring either.
Right.
They went out and got Sauce Gardner, and he got cooked yesterday. Cooked.
Yeah, it is.
They were like looking for him in routes. Will start bench cut.
I got
Colts or the Broncos third. I don't care. I think I agree with most lists exactly.
I'm starting Seattle. I'm benching the Patriots, and I'm cutting Denver. Look, I picked Denver to win that division, just off the strength in that defense. But that offense and Bo Nix looks so inconsistent. You can't trust them. So I'm gonna cut those guys, bench the Patriots, and I'm gonna start Seattle. Seattle's playing extremely well right now. Extremely well.
Gentlemen, Monday Night Football tonight, Philadelphia Eagles at the Green Bay Packers. Packers are a 1.5-point favorite, coming off of a very bad loss to the Carolina Panthers. Philadelphia Eagles coming off the bye week. A couple new additions. Jair Alexander is not traveling with the team. He is staying back to rehab and still get acclimated with the defense. Whereas Michael Carter II is traveling with the team, which I found was very interesting. But who do you guys got tonight? Packers or Eagles at Packers Monday Night Football?
I'm going to Eagles 24-17.
I'm going Eagles 24-20.
Going Packers 20-13.
Why?
Wow.
Why?
So the Packers, I'm not worried one bit about the Packers offense. I'm not. I think the Packers offense will move the ball. They're going to move the ball. They move it versus everybody. But
They do.
I think the Packers offense lacks weapons and receivers to move the ball consistently versus Philadelphia's defense. What I am worried about is that Packers defense just shutting down the Eagles offense. I don't feel like the Eagles offense has been right all year. I have little to no faith in Kevin Patullo. And after the bye week, I don't know. The Eagles normally start slow. I can see the Packers getting up 7 or 10-0 and coasting. I think it'll be 20-13, low scoring game, ugly game, and a loss that the Eagles kind of need. So
Packers do got to right the ship. They do got to right the ship after that loss to Carolina. So they do have to right the ship.
Listen, I'm a diehard Eagles fan, but I'm also
A realist.
And an honest breakdown of the game. Packers just lost last week to the Panthers, so this is their game. I agree. All right, gentlemen, any final thoughts, comments? Tell us what's going on tonight. Sports Report, Will.
Yes, we'll be doing the sports report tonight. 10 p.m. Eastern right here on Wire to Wire, getting you caught up on everything NFL. 7 will be on, getting you caught up with what's going on with MLB. So definitely check us out tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern right here on Wire to Wire Sports.
Bo, any final comments?
No, just appreciate the chat, all the energy, guys. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at the Wire to Wire Network. Wire to Wire Network, we appreciate you guys.
I want y'all to take care. Have a great rest of your morning. Happy Monday. And listen, I want to be wrong. Go Birds. Take care.